Los Angeles Dodgers fans, we've got fresh exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. Whispers are growing louder in Los Angeles, and it's not the usual buzz of a World Series run. Instead, it's a dark cloud hanging over Dodger Stadium, and it's not about pitching struggles or lineup inconsistencies. We're talking about something far deeper, something that could shake the very foundation of one of MLB's most iconic franchises. According to a rather cryptic yet eye-opening statement from Dodgers ace Tyler Glasnow, there might be more going wrong behind the scenes than the public realizes. In a recent interview that's now making waves, Glasnow hinted at what he described as a contaminating presence inside the locker room, a comment that's already sent fans and insiders into a frenzy. The question on everyone's mind, is this just frustration from a long season, or is there truly a player poisoning the atmosphere of the Dodgers from within? Now, before we dive too deep into speculation, let's look at the context. The Dodgers, as always, came into the season with sky-high expectations. A stacked rotation, a powerful lineup, and the kind of depth any GM would dream of. Tyler Glasnow was brought in as a crucial piece to solidify that already elite pitching staff. He's not just a flamethrower on the mound, he's respected, articulate, and most importantly, brutally honest. So when he says something is off in the clubhouse, you better believe he's not just throwing out words for dramatic effect. This isn't your everyday baseball platitude about needing to clean things up or focus more. Adair Glasnow specifically pointed to someone, without naming names, suggesting a kind of emotional or cultural toxicity infecting the group dynamic. That's a heavy accusation, especially coming from a guy who's relatively new to the Dodgers. What's perhaps most intriguing about Glasnow's remarks is how calculated they seemed. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment vent or a slip-up during a post-game presser. It came in a more controlled setting, a podcast interview off the field, where he clearly had time to reflect. And that's what makes it all the more compelling. He didn't point fingers directly, but he didn't hold back either. When asked about the team's recent inconsistency, he spoke vaguely but firmly. "It's hard to get rhythm when there's someone in the room who throws it off," he said. That's not a statement about analytics, mechanics, or roster moves. That's personal. And let's not ignore the word he used, contaminating. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's an accusation of sabotage, even if subtle, as you might expect. Fans are now playing detective. Social media is flooded with speculation. Who could Glasnow be referring to? Could it be a veteran presence that's turned sour? A young star with a growing ego? Or someone in the middle struggling with performance and projecting negativity? There are a few obvious names that pop up, but it would be reckless to point fingers without confirmation. What we do know is that the Dodgers' recent struggles, both on the field and in terms of chemistry, haven't gone unnoticed. The body language isn't the same. The post-game interviews feel strained. Something is different, and now Glasnow has given those suspicions a voice. Whether he meant to or not, he just lit a match under an already tense situation. What's also fascinating here is how the organization will respond, if at all. The Dodgers are known for being tight-lipped, for handling internal issues with clinical discretion. But can they afford to ignore this one? When your star pitcher goes public, even subtly, about dysfunction in the room, management has to either put out the fire or admit there's no fire to begin with. But silence in this case might speak louder than words. If nothing comes from Glasnow's comments, it might validate the idea that the Dodgers are trying to suppress what could become a much bigger problem. And with the postseason looming, unresolved chemistry issues could derail what should be another championship contending year. It also raises questions about leadership inside the clubhouse. Where's the veteran presence to squash this toxicity? The Dodgers have long been praised for their player development and internal culture, but even the best cultures are fragile. It only takes one discontented personality to shift the mood, fracture trust, and unravel unity. That's true in any team sport, but especially in baseball, where the grind is daily and the stakes build over months. If Glasnow is feeling the weight of a bad apple, and he's only been with the team for a short time, imagine what others might be enduring silently. This might just be the first ripple of something much deeper, and if left unchecked, it could spell disaster in October. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Glasnow's bold words could also be a strategic play. Could this be his way of lighting a fire under the team without naming names? A wake-up call to those slacking off, or worse, bringing others down. Sometimes leaders use the media as leverage, especially if they feel internal channels aren't doing the job. If that's the case here, then this was a calculated move, but it's also risky. Once you open that door, you can't close it. The media will run with it. Teammates will feel the tension. And if the player in question recognizes himself in those words, retaliation, even subtle, could come next. This could bring resolution or escalation. That's the gamble Glasnow might have just made. We also need to consider the psychological toll of this moment for Glasnow himself. He's a pitcher who has dealt with injuries, pressure, and now the added weight of being a top dog in the rotation. Speaking out like this might not just be about the team. It could be personal catharsis. Maybe he's tired of carrying more than his share. Maybe he sees a standard being compromised and can't sit back. Regardless of the reason, it shows that he cares deeply about the locker room culture, enough to take a public risk. That's not nothing. And in an era where athletes are increasingly transparent, this could be the beginning of a shift in how players handle internal dysfunction. Not with silence, but with subtle, targeted honesty. As the story develops, one thing is certain. The Dodgers are under a microscope now, and not just for their play on the field. Every dugout interaction, every press conference quote, every nonverbal cue will be dissected for signs of unrest. Tyler Glasnow's comments have done more than spark speculation. They've cast a shadow over a franchise known for its discipline and structure. Whether this ends in a team meeting, a trade, or simply fizzles out with time remains to be seen. But for now, the Dodgers aren't just battling opponents, they might be battling themselves. And in Major League Baseball, that kind of civil war is harder to win than any pennant race. So are the Dodgers in crisis? We don't have a definitive answer. But if there's even a grain of truth to what Glasnow suggested, then yes, something's wrong in Los Angeles. Maybe it's a clash of personalities. Maybe it's a young star struggling with leadership. Maybe it's just growing pains on a team that's constantly under pressure. But whatever it is big enough that a trusted voice felt the need to speak. And in the world of professional sports where silence usually reigns, that alone should make us all pay attention. Stay tuned, because if this locker room drama is real, it's only just beginning. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.